everyone, and welcome to Divinely Empowered with Antonia. Today we have Lily Nova. Lily is an ET contactee, a channeler, a author, and she's joining me at Mount Shasta Promise Revealed the Promise Revealed conference in July. So I just wanted to meet Lily and get you guys to know her as well. And I look forward to hanging out with her in Mount Shasta. So welcome, Lily.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Yeah, I just thought as we're going to be at this conference together, it's a good idea to get to know each other and then our, cross-pollinate audiences so everyone gets to know one another. So
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, so thank you for reaching out. I'm super excited about the Mount Shasta conference too. The energies are magical there.
I've not been to Mount Shasta. Tell me about it.
Oh, goodness. So last year was my first year going to Mount Shasta, and immediately whenever I got to the Airbnb, just flooded with positive spiritual beings and energies, all different sorts. You've got the Lemurian energies, the inner earth city that's under Mount Shasta. There's tons of portals there. It's like a huge energy vortex. So the veil is very, very thin. So I was having all sorts of experiences and just beautiful experiences left and right. So it's a very transformative place. Yeah, very magical.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I've heard there's lots of ETs and interesting things going in there and ships coming in and out and all sorts of amazing, wonderful things. Yeah, I'm hoping to make some friends with some ETs maybe.
Yeah. The inner earth beings, the Lemurians, there's a lot of that energy there too. Saint Germain is known for being in that area, and I had an experience with him too. And then you've got like the elemental beings too. So there's a big variety going on there.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right. So UFO contactee, tell me ETs and so Lily takes pictures of interesting ships and has had lots of experience with beings from different places. So tell us all about it.
Yeah. So so this just started happening to me over the last 4 years in 2020 during COVID. So I wasn't having, I was a little spiritual, not very, very much into all of this. And I wasn't into UFOs, definitely wasn't into UFOs. But in 2020, I got, we're in the middle of lockdowns and everything. So I started shooting space photography and I fell in love with it. Started spending every night under the night sky. And after doing that for a few months, I had my first very, very close UFO encounter. And then which was totally paradigm shifting. Like I went outside on my front porch, and at night, it was late at night before bed, I felt called to go out there. And whenever I went out there, I immediately locked eyes with a hovering light. But then a second one appeared that was a diamond craft, like much closer. It was maybe like 4 or 5 houses down, and it moved up, down, side to side very quickly, and then started coming straight for me, and then went over my head and just vanished. And so it was a very, very close encounter. And after that, I was like, what the heck did I just see? Okay, so, ETs are real. There's something going on here. And then I started seeing them, these UFOs, all the time. They started popping up left and right while I was out. So I started documenting them with my camera because I was curious. And as I began documenting them with my camera, eventually a relationship started to develop and a communication began. So that's kind of how it started. And it's been a crazy last few years. I kind of got the crash course of everything through these star beings.
Wow. And what have you learned from them?
Initially they started showing me, I was starting to see DNA a lot, and I didn't quite understand what that meant at the time. But as things progressed and our communication developed, and I started doing meditation where I would have, these very, very deep sessions with them. And I would, was activating my psychic abilities. I would receive all of these visions. They were teaching me that our DNA is actually very, very important, very, very special DNA. And, scientists say that 95+ % of our DNA is considered junk DNA because it doesn't appear to be doing anything. which is the farthest thing from the truth. It is not, it wouldn't be junk. Science, nature does not make junk. Everything has a purpose. So it's just our dormant DNA. We have all of this dormant potential and dormant DNA. So this star being started teaching me how to activate that. And as I was activating on this multidimensional dormant DNA, I started activating psychic abilities, healing abilities, the abilities to self-heal, heal others, and all of these crazy, amazing, beautiful experiences and things that logic and science would say is impossible. But as you activate your DNA, you can do it. So that was kind of the main thing, one of the main focuses that they were teaching me.
Wow, that's fun, isn't it? Yeah, I do some of the stuff that I'm doing is recoding DNA. It's like actually unraveling and opening up the strands and then tinkering on the inside and then raveling them back up again to work on different diseases. That's what I was doing. I had one of my students and friends, practitioners and friends, Spring, she had a benign uterine tumor. And I worked on the emotions which caused that, because I think disease is largely about emotional blockages and stagnations and fixations. And then, so we cleared that, but then I actually worked specifically on the tumor, and she was in absolute agony. And then I literally unraveled her DNA, tinkered on the inside of it. And then after 10 minutes later, her pain was completely gone. And it was, and the tumor vanished. Right. And she had a scan a few days later, 3 days later, and it was no sign of it.
That's amazing. Yeah. See, isn't it like miracles? Miracles can happen, but we can do this through working with the DNA and also healing the emotions, trauma, all of that. And I did a lot of that with my star family as well. But yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome. Yeah, no, I'm working with Galactics and all these different people. So yeah. So you are which star system do you think you're from then? Tell us about that, your origins.
Yeah. So the first beings that I began that were contacting me, they told me that they were from Lyra, the Lyra constellation. And I later found, so these beings were light blue.
The lions ones, aren't they? The lion ones.
Well, so they're the feline beings are from Lyra, but then there's also a star Vega in the Lyra constellation that these light blue beings come from.
Blue avians or something else?
Nope, there's blue avians too. I think there's a big combination. The feline beings from Lyra are kind of the most popular, but there are other types of beings from there too. And I have a picture that I can show you of them whenever.
Let's see them as we're going.
Okay.
Yep,
you can go ahead and add it.
Yep.
Do you see the folder?
Yep, the folder's up.
Okay, cool. So this is
wow.
Yep. She looked very human. So this is like my main star family mentor that I met. And I first originally saw her UFO, and I was seeing their UFOs. And then I began seeing her as I developed. And so originally they said from Lyra, but they migrated to the Andromeda constellation. So they're Andromedan, like Lyran Andromedan, essentially. Andromedan.
So basically, like us. I mean, she looks very modelly with that jawline is incredible. But she looks like a blue fashion model.
They are very pretty. Some of them. Yeah, I think that's the only picture I have of her. But this is kind of just a representation of me meditating and connecting with her.
That's great imagery. Are you drawing these yourselves or having them done for you?
No, I created this with AI generated art.
Nice.
Yeah. I was doing that for the book. So I made a bunch of different images for the book. But essentially just light blue skin, looked very, very humanoid. And but with no hair. They didn't have any hair, these Andromedan beings. And so they're part of the Andromedan Council.
They've got eyebrows though.
Yeah, I think they
do. Eyelashes. I'm just wondering, when you say no hair, I'm assuming there's no hair anywhere, but she has eyebrows and eyelashes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's no hair everywhere. That's a good question, though. I just know there's none on top of the head.
Sure.
Yeah. So that if you want, I can share, since I have the screen up, I can share some of the UFO footage.
Yeah, let's see that. That sounds wonderful.
Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and start with just a couple of my space photography pictures.
What
So
are you shooting this on?
a Nikon D5300 DSLR camera, and it has I was using a lens about that big, so it's almost like putting a little telescope on your camera.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can get pretty like close up. So this is the Andromeda galaxy, and you can see there's another galaxy right there too.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's one of my pictures. This is the Orion Nebula that's under Orion's belt. And this is the Pleiades.
Nice.
Picture of the Pleiades. Yeah, so this is what I was doing whenever I was out there. There's a picture of me with the Milky Way on the
That's
beach.
cool.
Yeah, that was fun. So that was what I was out there doing.
Making use of your free time during the COVID.
Yeah, exactly. And just everything changed during COVID.
I
So
think a lot of people woke up, which I think is wonderful.
yeah, exactly. I felt like my old life, I was a nutritionist before this. I had gone to school for dietetics and had my dietetics degree. I was teaching nutrition and health classes. I was so passionate about it. But yeah, something just happened, and then the UFOs started showing up where just the old me just fell away completely. And I didn't know what was happening at the time, but it was kind of like a dark night of the soul and then kind of a rebirth type situation.
Do you think it was a walk-in or anything, or just a rebirth?
That's a good question. There may have been some of that action. So Talia, I'll show the picture of her. So she became my mentor, and she was teaching me all about, how to use energy, how energy works, how about the DNA, all of these things. And eventually she like merged with me to where,
Oh.
yeah, like she was activating within me. I was activating kind of like things that she knew, skills that she had. The Andromedan Council is known for being very psychic. So she really helped me like start activating my psychic abilities. And at the end of our kind of like main mentorship, I was wondering where she went because I could communicate with her telepathically all the time. I felt her in my head every day, like 24/7, which was pretty wild. But near the end of the mentorship, it suddenly went kind of like radio silent, and I was like, "Where'd she go?" And I was taking a bath one day, and I looked up into, the faucet. I was wondering, just kind of reflecting on everything. And whenever I looked up, I saw her in my reflection. And then I got a series of downloads that she had I guess her essence had kind of like merged with me, if that makes
Wow.
sense. Yeah.
Sounds like a bit of a walk-in sort of thing, or some sort of emergence of that.
Yeah, something similar. I don't know, because my soul didn't leave my body, I don't think. I think it
No.
was more of like a merging. Yeah, something kind of
I
different.
wonder if she's like a future life you or a past life you or something, and you've integrated that part of you,
Yeah, she is
potentially.
future.
Is she future life you?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't know that for a while. And she'll still contact me sometimes, like I guess from the future or whatever. Kind of during pivotal moments, she will show up. But for the most part, it's I guess she's just within.
Integrated, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess while I have this pulled up, I'll share a few images. So I started meditating to make contact with these ships, and started practicing CE5, which is human initiated contact, to where you can kind of like call in these ships. At first it was very much about the UFOs and ships, but then I got more into kind of like the meditation, the healing stuff. So I don't worry about the ships as much. But as you train your kind of your third eye and raise your frequency, I can now kind of see cloaked ships like pretty frequently. So you don't have to call them in physically always. But so this is a picture that I took of me meditating, and I got this craft right here. I've got a better picture of it, but this it appeared in 3 different photos before it kind of blinked out and disappeared. And it's a strange looking craft. I'll show you the other picture of it. Here's the kind of the close up. It's been cleaned up a little bit, but here's one of the ships. It's really interesting looking, huh?
Mm.
Almost looks like an orange, like some sort of like an orange window or something.
Or an eye.
Yeah. Yeah, their craft is different, and sometimes they'll show up in kind of these orbs too, or that's what we see in our reality, at least.
Mm.
There
Do you
could be
think they're
much more.
interdimensional, or what? Do you think they're living on different planets or different dimensions or different? What? How do you explain the phenomenon?
I think it's a both.
Mm.
Both. Different dimensions, but as we are raising our consciousness and raising our frequency, we're starting to perceive them better.
Sure.
And that's the same with like the Lemurians and inner earth beings. It seems to be mostly, if not all, in another dimension. So maybe if we went down there, we may not even see anything. But if we were to kind of get up into that next dimension or change our frequency to be able to be in that other dimension, then we would see a whole civilization, which is pretty trippy. Yeah.
Do they
It's
have to
pretty.
go anywhere, or they're just like, if we could tune in, we'd be seeing everything, like right here, right now.
I think it's kind of a combination, but
Mm.
so I was actually capturing a lot of things that were happening right in front of me that I could not see
Mm.
with my own eyes. The camera can capture it sometimes. So I'll show you an example.
It's amazing that the camera can see that you can't. As a good
Right.
example is the aurora borealis. I went to the
Mhm.
Arctic Circle, and what you can see with your naked eyes
Mhm.
compared to what the camera was catching with people with very expensive, fancy cameras, they was just seeing this technicolor thing, and I was seeing like a shard of green or white, like a cloud
Wow.
or something at night. It was, you couldn't see it with your eyes, and then suddenly people were having these most incredible pictures. So definitely the camera
Mhm.
can pick up lots of things that we can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It is very incredible. So that's kind of how I was experimenting and learning about how all of this works just from trial and error. Again, I wasn't in the spiritual community whenever this was happening to me. I wasn't
Mm.
in the starseed community. I didn't know that existed yet. um, so I was just kind of figuring it out as I went, and I had my camera with me a lot. This was actually taken with my cell phone,
This
but I
looks like
felt
it's a teleportation thing. That looks like Beam Me Up Scotty, doesn't it? It looks like they're about to teleport someone in.
yeah. And I could feel a presence. I was started meditating a lot and I could feel them around, but I was blown away whenever I got this on camera. And at first I thought it was like maybe one like light being or something. But if you zoom in, I don't know if hopefully you can see it, but it looks like a
Yeah.
whole group. You can see arms and
Oh my
legs.
goodness.
Yeah. I really feel like this was a group of maybe Pleiadians or a combination of different beings who were kind of like projecting or almost teleporting in. And it doesn't, even though they're real small, it doesn't, they can do it not being true to size. Like they're not really that small, but somehow they can, that's how they can project themselves into the room, if that makes
Well,
sense.
changing size is one of the enlightened abilities that you have. You can make yourself infinitely big or infinitely small. That's an awakened
Mm.
superpower, Siddhi. So
Hmm.
they're more advanced, so that wouldn't be a difficult thing for them to do.
Right. And some of the orbs that I've captured, um, I don't have any of examples right here, but some of the
Mm.
orbs I've captured, it looked, you could see a head and shoulders, and this is a small orb, but you can see a head and shoulders, and I saw like a triangular pyramid structure and then another head and shoulders. So, but they were like this big. So they were projecting themselves. There could be a whole ship in a small orb, essentially,
Mm.
which is pretty.
Do you think that's what orbs are generally? Do you think they're like sort of fae or craft or something, or what might they be?
I think there's definitely a combination of fae, maybe even angels manifesting in
What do
the
you think
different
angels are? Are angels ETs or are angels what are they?
angels. I think are different. I've had experiences with them too. As my psychic abilities began kind of like opening up in spiritual abilities, they I don't think that they're from other planets, but they're from like a higher dimensional space. So they haven't like lived, like kind of a
Are
physical
you done
life
with the
on a
pictures
planet.
now? Shall I close that down? You done?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe let me show you
Mm.
one more and then we'll close it.
Okay.
Here is another picture that I took during kind of a CE5 where I was calling these craft in. You can see me right here. And
Mm.
then we've got this that appeared in one photo.
Mm.
So it looks like two ships and then maybe a tear in space-time. I'm not sure. Pretty wild.
Tear in space-time. Goodness.
Yeah. So they can travel. It seems like a lot of these ships are cloaked or in another dimension, or but they can also travel through. Yes, I'm done with that. Travel through like portals, wormholes. Yeah.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
I interrupted you. Tell me about angels. So what do you think angels are?
Angels, I believe, are just from another dimension, higher dimensional beings. Not necessarily extraterrestrial to where they've lived lifetimes on other planets, if that makes sense. And then you've got archangels too, who are like very, 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 very close to source, very, very powerful, like very, very big. Their energy is very, very big.
Mm.
So that's kind of like the difference that I feel. And then angels can be like guardian angels. It can also be like past loved ones, angels. There's probably many, many different types of angels, but it just seems like they're in a higher dimensional kind of reality. They can be many places at once. So like working with like Archangel Michael, he can be assisting, a million people at the same time. It doesn't matter. Or like 1,000 people, whoever is calling on him or working with him.
Yeah. I'm just going to plug my Wi-Fi in. I've got a little notification saying it's not working fully. Where's that gone? So that one's that. All right. So I work with Lord Ashtar sometimes. Hang on 2 seconds. Let me get this in.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's allow accessory. And then hopefully it will say stable Wi-Fi. No, still saying unstable. Okay. So yeah, I work with Lord Ashtar sometimes. Actually, he rescued me. I had an attack. There were some beings who came into my house either to kill me or to kidnap me in the middle of the night. They beamed in and there was a fight and Ashtar beamed in from a ship outside. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I was in, I'll do the whole story.
Yeah.
All right. So I was, I've had a few ET encounters. So I was just sleeping in my bed and then suddenly there was a home invasion. 100% there was a home invasion.
Wow.
So these, I could hear things being knocked and people running upstairs. I had a light which tripped. It's just like a little light. So when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, it just trips the lights rather than dazzling you with the overhead lights. So that got tripped. And there was just people in the house moving around and they were coming into my bedroom. They were walking up the stairs and smashing into things. And then suddenly outside my bedroom window, which had blackout blinds and black curtains, light came all the way through it. And it was the whole shape of the window. And I was on the first floor. So second floor to Americans, but first floor to English. So yeah, I was a long way off the ground floor. But it went right through. The whole of my window was lit up, and then people beamed in. I had another 3 people enter the house, 2 or 3, and then there was a fight. I heard punches, like properly punches, smashing against the walls, like falling downstairs, all sorts of different things. The lights in the hall properly went on. Someone had switched the lights on manually. The bathroom light was on. They'd switched that one on manually, and then there was a fight. And they're stumbling downstairs, all this stuff, and then it all went quiet. And I went and looked, and as I said, the hallway light was switched on, the bathroom light was switched on and off in succession, which meant it was flashing to program it. And then downstairs, the table had been sort of kicked into the middle of the room, and things were knocked over, and there was like a thing with cat, like dreamies, which are cat treats, which is a little ball which had been strewn across the floor. My cat and I were freaking out about it. So there was definitely some invasion. And then this was the first time I heard about Lord Ashtar, because I spoke to one of my psychics and she spelt out his name psychically. And then I sort of spent some time trying to figure out who the heck he is. And now I work with him quite a lot. But yeah,
Mhm.
so that's my first one of my first ET encounters.
That's intense.
Yeah,
That
not
is
my first
intense.
near abduction either.
Yeah, and you kind of hear about this a lot. Um, maybe not like a lot, but kind of like where there's been uh, kind of negative interference from negative faction ETs
Yeah.
trying to do whatever they're trying to do. It could be a number of things.
It was either murder or kidnap. There's no doubt about it. They came in there to come and get me, and luckily I
Wow.
got rescued.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, you've hear about that. Not a lot, but I've heard of that happen, a few times at least, where
Mm.
negative ETs were coming in and they had to be rescued by positive ETs, which is insane. There really is like there's a war going on right now.
It's a battle of good versus evil.
Yeah. 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 But that's incredible. I haven't worked with I've felt Ashtar's presence. I I haven't worked with him really kind of like one-on-one,
Mm,
but he seems like an amazing person, amazing energy, very and also powerful. So they're like a military, faction,
mm,
which is great. So, that's helpful. Um, apparently they are on, Jupiter, have a base on Jupiter.
right?
Um, and, did you wanna say anything else about your contact with him? I would love to hear anything else that you wanna share.
Well, I've got one of my students, Kadrina. She's
Mhm.
actually works with Ashtar all the time, so
Yeah.
she contacts him all the time. So,
Mhm.
um, so yeah, we work with Ashtar. Yeah, I was working with him yesterday. I can't speak to him myself, but she speaks to him. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of connection between us, and
Mm.
she thinks we're some sort of family with him, and that he rescued me when I was a kid, and on a particular planet, and I'm very close with him now. And
Wow,
yeah, so
that's
he's helped
beautiful.
me, and he comes up with a lot of things, and it looks like a lot of my my students and my practitioners, like the sort of inner circle of us, are all working with him, and we're
Wow.
all on ships, and science officers and generals and warriors and all that sort of stuff. Like, it seems like everyone that I'm working with is sort of
Mhm.
part of his high command or part of his fleet, or somehow working with Ashtar. It seems like he's brought all these people back in, so that's quite an
Yeah,
interesting one. Mm.
that is amazing. Yeah, and it's amazing. A lot of the people that we end up meeting or working with, and even like clients of mine will find out, or friends that I've met through, YouTube or just in the community. In an ET, our ET reality, which may be from the future or past or whatever, because time doesn't work the same. We
Mm.
are these commanders or generals, or we're pilots, and we're all working together on these ships too, and then we're also incarnated here on earth helping from the inside. It's just remarkable. Mind-boggling, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's wild. I mean, and it's really difficult to know whether you're a little bit mad or if it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, 100%. So I'll share my experience with, the Ashtar command, not specifically Commander Ashtar, but with that command. Uh, so my first experience with them, it was on Thanksgiving. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 2 years ago or so. Went outside and I set the intention, kind of reached out telepathically to see if any ships or star family, if they would like to reveal themselves. And right after I asked that, I see a ship in the sky, a light appear in the sky, and it kind of like hung out there for a minute. And I began getting a telepathic communication from this ship. And uh, I was told that this was me from another version of me that was in the Ashtar Galactic Command, and
Mm.
that blew me away. I didn't know that I had a connection with them at that time. So maybe my other and they visited as a ship, like I could actually see the ship in the sky, and then it stayed for a minute, talked for a minute, and then it just kind of like it blinked out and disappeared. It was only there for a couple minutes. Uh, so maybe that's how we know each other. Maybe we know each other through the Ashtar Galactic Command.
Anything's possible. I mean,
Right.
really. Wow. So
Yeah.
that's in a future life or some other lifetime parallel thing, you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably future. And time works differently. out there. I think a lot of the beings that physically are coming or are coming in the ships or even contacting us are possibly from the future. I don't think all of them, but I think a good amount. That seems to be the theme with me. I'm getting contacted by parallel realities, even other versions of Earth. At times, I was contacted by a male Atlantean version of me from a parallel Earth where Atlantis never fell. So it's just like, I think it's infinite. But a lot of these beings, I do think that they are from the future also.
When do you think disclosure's happening, or is it never going to?
Well, we're working on it. It's happening, bit by bit by us sharing, our experiences, our stories, but I get a really good feeling about 2025, the year 2025. So I think we'll have some major disclosure events in 2025. Back.
Are they going to be landing on the White House lawn? Are the ships going to be landing?
Yeah, I don't know if they will do that because they might get shot down. They have to, we have a little bit more work to do, I think, before they can open. We have to get rid of the shadow government because there's a lot of people who don't want this information coming out. You know what I mean?
Black
So I think
projects and all sorts of
what's
dangerous,
that?
horrible things. Black projects and all sorts of dangerous, horrible things. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes like these ships, they can't even like show up in the 3D because it's not safe for them to do so. You may see like a black helicopter.
I wonder about that because I think their technology is so much more advanced than ours that actually it probably is quite safe, but maybe they just don't want to like pick a fight.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they can trigger. I think they have ways where because there's so many ships kind of like cloaked in another dimension, but maybe if they come into our 3D reality, sometimes depending on what's going on in that area, they may trip an alert. I've seen, after having UFO encounters, I've seen black helicopters in the sky. And I've heard of other stories where a UFO appears and then two jets come out chasing after that. So I think it does happen sometimes. So they may have to be mindful, but they're smart. Their technology is advanced. Everything that they do, there's a reason for it, and I think they can get out of it. But before me and Talia kind of like merged, I had asked her when she would be, or they would be like kind of boots on the ground, meeting face to face. And she didn't give me a specific date, but she said the 2030s, I think, is when we will have more open, we'll be at that level where there will be like open ET contact in the 2030s, which we've got a lot of work to do, but that's not very far away. It's pretty close.
So have you ever met them in the physical, or is everything sort of psychic?
It's interesting how it appears. I haven't been like face to face with a physical flesh and blood. I think that I have. I've been up on the ships before too. I kind of have like some hazy memory of it sometimes, but I don't remember the whole thing. But often how it happens, a lot of the time I'll kind of see like a window with my eyes open, but like with my kind of like psychic, subtle senses too. I'll kind of see like a window open up and I'll see them through this window. Or I've also had, it's strange, it's hard to explain, but interactions where I will see them and I'll kind of see them like energetically with my eyes open, or I'll see them through visions like around me, but they're just in another dimension to where they're not, like physically manifested. But I felt them. I'm like, if you really are right here, can you, touch me? As soon as I asked that, I felt a hand on my shoulder, which is pretty interesting. So that happens a lot too. So that's often how I see them, a lot psychically, and then essentially mostly psychically. But they're sometimes they are right in front of my face. They're just not fully in the physical. I think that can be tough on their bodies sometimes too.
To densify.
Yeah.
See, what is interesting is I have this thing called my grand theory of disease. And it's basically that thoughts manifest into diseases, and they come into three categories. And a gas-based disease is a thought-based disease. So when you hang around somebody who's sad or angry, upset, spend 2 seconds with them and you can feel they're radiating their emotions. Depression can sort of pull you down, or anxiety can sort of make you feel anxious just being in their presence. Or we have the phrase, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. So you can feel it in the air. So thought-based diseases are gas-based diseases. And then they go into like a liquid-based disease, which is like a back pain or something, which is just about not feeling supported. The compression of like how gas becomes a liquid is just sort of slows down and cools down the molecules, and it goes to that specific location, which is your back, about not feeling supported. And it just sort of progresses into a solid-based disease would be something like a tumor, but it's a compressed thought. And a malignant tumor or a cancerous tumor is a burst tumor, which is so it's gone so hard that it's run out of space that it's popped, and then it becomes a cancerous tumor. So that goes in these stages. So my theory is that if you have mastery of solid liquid gas and gas liquid solid, so changing states, you would be able to instantly dissolve all diseases. You'd be able to do instant manifestation. You'd be able to do those things that, you know, Padmasambhava, the father of Tibetan Buddhism, where he puts his hands in the stone, and then it actually he's got handprints in the stone like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So I think that when you're enlightened, and I think it is like, you have to be enlightened to be able to do this, you would be able to turn yourself from a physical ET into like, you know, the one that you can sort of just sense in the air around you. And I think that's one of the enlightened abilities that you can potentially get to. So we would be able to, if we were enlightened, just change our shapes. And if you think about Jesus, you know, when he came back, what was he? Was he physical, or was he energetic, or what was all of that sort of stuff? And bilocation kind of does the same thing. So mastery of solid liquid gas, I think you're saying it's hard on their body if they're turning from this sort of gas or energetic state into the physical. So it might be more easy if they were fluid, but I think it is quite difficult. It's just the amount of energy that you'd need to be turning from a gas, like from water vapor into water. Like it's a lot of compression. And if they're used to being in the light bodies, it would be quite a difficult thing.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that explanation too. Yeah. Do you ever feel, I was just thinking about this earlier. Do you ever wake up and just feel like it's so heavy in this body?
Yeah. We've had a couple of days down here. Honestly, there's been some things going on, and we're like, right, we've just got to clear this funk out, you know. And it's suddenly you just like, I mean, this morning it's really weird because I'm very emotionally stable and happy. My baseline is happy. And this morning I was like grumpy. Like a few things have just, I did a lot of press this weekend. So I'm in the Sun newspaper, which is the biggest newspaper in the UK. And I'm in the Star. And yeah, like this, it's really, really good. The press, which has just come out. But there's all these like almost false starts, like things look like they're about to happen and they haven't quite happened. And it's just like, bleh. And so I have to like clear on this energy as well, because I was feeling grumpy this morning, and you just have to clear it. And that's what I teach. That's what I'm going to be teaching at Shasta as well, is clearing traumas and doing a group healing, dissolving people's traumas. Yeah, I can do instant healing of a lot of different things. So traumas
that's much needed. We need that.
I want to teach it. And the thing is, I do it really. I can teach it. You know, I'm going to be teaching my level 1 at Shasta. And you can learn how to instantly dissolve traumas in level 1. And the things that you can do, you know, like anxiety, you can do a bit later, like a depression. Most people, you could use level 1 skills and clear most people's depression in 5-10 minutes and gone. Like I've done this and it's just never come back. I've done it many, many, many times with those sorts of levels. And I've got 15 levels. So there's, you know, it's a crazy awakening school, which is bringing all this magic back into the world. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for the work that you were doing. And that was a big majority of kind of like the Starseed boot camp, what I call it, the kind of training that my star family took me through, is going through all of these traumas and removing some of these things I had to kind of like re-see, like, you know, past life things. So they would bring up, okay, now you need to clear this. Before I was on YouTube, before I was sharing publicly, they you know, they appeared and they said, you have something that's affecting you from past lifetimes. And they showed me, suddenly I saw these visions of being burned at the stake for being a witch, but I wasn't really a witch. I was a healer back in like the Middle Ages. And I felt it in my throat, like it had blocked my throat so deep from that lifetime. So then I became aware of it, and then they helped me to kind of like clear it, dissipate it. And they're like, you need to clear this if you are going to start speaking publicly and authentically. So that's just an example, but it's incredibly important. Yeah, that was a lot of it is clearing, healing traumas, emotions, and all of that. So it's incredibly important work, and it's so transformative. It'll just can change everything like that.
And it changes what you attract as well. You stop attracting the rubbish, because it's the law of attraction works, is what you're focusing on, you bring in, is intrinsically how it works. But if you've got all this stuff of all this pain, all this suffering from past lives or from childhood, or things that you were aware of or not even aware of, an easy example is about infidelity. If there was infidelity in your house growing up, then you're going to be attracting partners who are unfaithful, because you're actually magnetizing that in until you've dealt with it. So it's when you start clearing your traumas, life gets a lot easier.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I love that. Very, very important.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to share with our audiences today? You've got a book. Tell us about your book.
Yeah. So it's a bestseller.
Ooh.
Contact. Yep. Contact, an incredible true story of contact with beings from another world and spiritual awakening. So it goes through my journey from the beginning of my awakening. It has some of the UFO footage and stuff like that, and goes into how these star beings taught me, how they took me through, they brought me through a spiritual awakening. And it also goes into how to make contact. There's a lot of tips on how they taught me to activate psychic abilities and raise my frequency and healing abilities, self-healing. So a lot of that. And then there's a chapter on helpful resources and how to make contact for yourself. So that's a big part of what I do, is help people to connect with their cosmic families, their star families. I can also help them discover who their star families are. So I do sessions involving that too. But once you connect with, your star family, so many amazing, beautiful things can happen. Like Commander Ashtar, for you, I'm sure he is a big shining light and big help in your life. And so that's amazing that you
helped me quite a lot. I get a lot of attacks and crazy things happening, and I think he comes and rescues me quite often. But there was one where I ended up, there was another ET contact that I had, and this being was in my room, and he came well, they're always coming to get me. This was years ago, but there was this light that was coming through the window, and then when I moved, it sort of clicked off, and then it was coming, and it was like the first floor, so like the one above the ground for the UK. And there was no lights on that side at all, and there was this light coming through the window, and it kept on switching on and off. And then I was thinking, goodness, should I go and go downstairs? And I was a bit scared, and I was so tired because I was doing a healing course, and there was a lot changing in my body. And then it kept on going on and off many times, and then I ended up seeing it going to the loo, and then the light coming on and then turning off, but it's bright. It's like more than full beam headlights, and there were no lights on that side of the house. It was so bright. And then I ended up going back to sleep again and waking up, and I woke up and I went like this, and my arms went to the side, and suddenly there was this energy coming in all directions. It was like that much, like a circular ripple of energy, really, really thick, and it went across the room. And then suddenly it hit something, and you saw it go like that because it was like flat. And then it went, ah! And then something fell down.
Wow.
Yeah, something fell down. And then the shit went. But then some of my friends were in the next door room, and there was an armchair in their room, and they woke up and there were scratches down both of the wooden arms of the armchair. So I had claws, and something was sitting in a chair, and mine went out in 360 degrees. Wow. And scared them away. So
wow. Yeah. No wonder you have a commander looking out for you. The powerful military faction.
I think I need a commander. I think they're always coming for me, because I'm bringing this, this work back into the world. I'm really I'm working towards introducing magic back into the world.
Yeah.
And that's not something that they're into. It's, I mean, a lot of it is healing based, but there are other sides of it as well. I mean, my new stuff is I've hacked reverse aging, raising the voltage of our cells to a younger point, so that
Mhm.
then you're actually turning the clock back.
Mhm.
So, that's
Mhm.
something that a lot of industries don't want us doing either.
Yeah. I mean, that's all their money right there, you know?
That's
That's
all
their
the
money.
money. Yeah, it's pretty
Mm.
wild. So it's really fun, but it's
Mm.
yeah, certainly it's not for the faint-hearted.
Right. Yeah, we signed up for pretty, very, very important roles, and each one of us, but yeah, thank you so much for the work you're doing. I'm looking
And
forward to
you got a black SUVs coming for you and the helicopters. I mean, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely, yeah, it's scary whenever you see, because some of it can kind of seem like, is it fantasy? Is it, you don't want to be paranoid either, or, did that really just happen? Um, but then something like really strange will happen, like the black SUVs or black helicopters, and you're like, oh crap, like this,
Because that's
this is
real,
real.
that's physical. I mean, it's one side. I don't know. It's they're both equally scary when they're
Yeah,
trying to abduct you, or there's because they could
right,
be abducting you in the physical just the same as they could be abducting you in the energetics.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. But, yeah, we're making waves, so, nothing can stop what's coming. But, yeah, it's nice to have some help from, like the Ashtar Galactic Command in our star
We need
family.
them. I mean, I wish I'm hoping to maybe I don't know, make more contact with Ashtar when I'm at Shasta,
Oh,
because
I
I
bet
think
you
he
will.
hangs out there a bit.
I bet you will, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've seen his ships before, you can call the ships,
Mhm.
and then he'll sort of do a little dance for me in the sky, which is always really
Mm.
cool. But
Yeah.
I don't know, hopefully we're deepening it when we get there.
Oh, I think so, yeah. The veil is so thin. I saw a ship in the sky, and that did a power up in Mount Shasta. That was my first time seeing that, where it's kinda like a light, and then it powers up, what they call it, it expands, and then it goes back like that to kinda prove that, it's our aircraft can't do that. So you may see something like that. But yeah, it's very, very active. The veil is thin there, so I'm sure you will have some beautiful experiences, or see their ship or something.
Amazing. Okay, so any final words of wisdom or anything else you want to share before we close?
Um, yeah, I would like to share that, I would like to just say thank you for everybody who is on their awakening journey. Sometimes it's not easy. So everybody is, very, very courageous, and hang in there, and, just continue following the journey. And also, if you don't know who your star family or guides are, that's an incredible way to really expedite and receive assistance, much needed assistance. Um, on this journey. But yeah, I'm feeling really, really good about it. And everybody here has a star family or guides that are looking out for them. So we're never alone. So just remember that too. Even if you don't see, a physical sign, or, get words, telepathic words, we are still always surrounded by, our guides and family. So that's something that you can kind of train yourself to better be able to like tune into. But yeah, just know that you're very divinely protected and supported.
Beautiful. Lovely. Okay, Lily, thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time, and I really enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Me too. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.